Okay, I just took a shower and that's why my hair looks like this. Got a weird ass looking bun going on, kind of a la Bella Hadid. That's not saying that Bella's hair looks as bad as this does, but you know, she has a team of, I don't even want to think about how many stylists, and I cycle through the same variation of a single shirt. This is one of them. Why am I trying to make it look good? We cannot improve upon the situation, so why do we try? January. Objectively, the best month. It may or may not be because I had my birthday. Thank you. I did some reading. Let us please discuss the books I read this month. Last month. It is February 2nd. Good old trusty Goodreads has got my back every single month, day, week, moment of time. I will say there's nothing as successful as looking down at your Goodreads reading challenge and seeing that you are ahead of schedule. Nothing can touch me. I am invincible. Let's check out my challenge so far this month. Okay. Mr. Cat is here to join us. That's not his name, but that is what I choose to call him. Last month, yes, December, I started rereading Percy Jackson. Yes! 2020 really was the year of me just regressing into my childhood. I read Twilight, Percy Jackson now, and I read so many YAs. What's her name? Laura Jean. I was trying to mellow everything out with pleasantries. Jury's out on whether it was successful, but I am now in the process of, oh my god, I was like one of those anime TikToks now. I am now in the process of rereading Percy Jackson. I feel like I started off the year strong. I read Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters, the second book in the series. At the time, I was really enjoying it, and I had a fantastic time reading it. The first book of the series, I can't even count how many times I read that book. The second book, Sea of Monsters, I've only read it once when I was like 13. The third book, every book after that, I haven't read. I got the third book for my, I think, 13th birthday, but then didn't end up reading it, and never ended up continuing with the series. Yet somehow it is like a pivotal series of my childhood, even though I didn't really read anything except for the first book. Reading the second book, I think the nostalgia of not having read it for so long kind of got me wrapped up and made me absolutely love it and adore it and think it was the best thing in the world. So I did end up giving it 5 stars, even though I think it was more like 4 stars, verging on 3. I'm not gonna change my rating now on Goodreads, but I am more sitting at a 4 star for it because it was entertaining and fun, as all Percy Jackson reads are. I say, having only read 2, well, by now I've read 3, but at the time I'd only read 2. So it was as fun as they all are. I love the writing style. Man, it's just such a fun time. It is definitely juvenile in a way. You can tell that it is middle grade. It is for middle schoolers. I would go as far as saying like late primary school. 6th grade me was having a ball. We'll put it that way. I think it was really just a fun way to revisit characters I enjoy and a storyline I semi-remembered. I will say, Tyson the Cyclops is introduced in this book. There's a bit at the end, I swear I wanted to cry, where things just kind of come together. There's like confessions. It's so heartwarming. What did I write here? Good lord, did Riordan want to rip my heart out? I swear to god, he had the knife ready and he was letting me know that he was not afraid to use it. Yeah. There was a bit there at the end, near the end, that hit me. Oh lord. This is for kids. It's a kid's book. Anyway, that was the first book. That was what started me off strong this year for reading. What did I read next? After that, I was actually visiting my siblings who live across the country. I finished my Percy Jackson book on that trip while I was visiting them. I didn't know I was in the mood for, and things I was in the mood for, I guess. I didn't have really available to me. But my sister does have the Gone series over at her house, so I asked her would she mind if I borrowed it and like took it back home with me, and she was fine with it. I really have been rereading a whole lot. I've been wanting to reread the Gone series for like a year-ish, but I'm waiting for the perfect moment when it's speaking to me. You know, I don't know if it was speaking to me right now, but it certainly was forced upon me by circumstances. I finally re-picked up Gone. If I was a more organized person, I'd write out like bullet points of shit I wanted to say. I'm really just depending on my nonsensical Goodreads reviews, which half the time don't even have anything to do with the book. Why am I talking about banana flies? Let's try and be professional. I'm gonna explain. Gone is about everyone over the age of 15 disappears, and some people have freaky deaky powers, and it's Lord of the Flies-esque. Though I did hate Lord of the Flies, still to this day is one of my most hated books. I can't talk about it. I hate that book so much. Gone though, I do enjoy, so let's talk about that instead. I definitely spent too long reading this book. When I read this book years ago for the first time, I read it in just a few hours within a single day, and I think that's really what you need to do. It is probably the definition of a binge read. It's fast-paced, it's, I was gonna say fun, but when you get to the subject matter, it's really not. I don't know if I'd say torture is fun, but it's like, it's entertaining. I really just came to the realization that I spent way too long reading it this time, and it's kind of spread it out over too long of a period. Ideally, I would start this book at maybe 6 p.m. and then like read it into the early hours of the morning. How many stars? I gave it 3 stars. Okay, I stand by it. I stand by it. 3 stars to this book. I already have the second one borrowed out from the library, ready to read. Okay, third book. I went back to Percy Jackson. This time I ended up reading The Titan's Curse, which is the third book, could you guess it, in the series. Definitely like this one more, and I was thinking about, do I like it more because I haven't read it and it's something fresh? I really don't think that the reason I like this one more than the second book is because it was the first one of the series now that I hadn't read. It was just genuinely, it's better. It was better. Okay, true. I'm reading my review and it's reminding me. I want to say this was my favorite book of the series so far. The first book, you're really just getting to know the characters, being introduced, learning, you're learning. And then the second one was kind of, sort of filler-ish. But this one has got to be, I think, my favorite of the series that I've read so far. I think it is. I think it is. I definitely sped through it because it was just so fun. Do I know how to describe anything else other than fun? I don't think so. It also really caught me off guard and threw me for a loop when it had some more serious moments. I'm not gonna spoil, I'm not gonna say what happens, but things happened that I didn't really expect would happen. Not truly, not fully. And they did. It surprised me, I guess, for a children's middle grade book that they happened. Things happened and I was surprised. Wow, that's the book review. If I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember how it ended. Yes, I do. I'm gonna say I don't remember maybe exactly the topics and subjects of what happened at the last few pages, but I do remember it was enough for me to close the book and think, oh, I'm so wanting to get to the next one. I'm invested. I need to know. I'm just trying to remember what the hell happened. I don't even know, but I know it's gonna be a party in the next book. I know that, I can say that for sure. So The Titan's Curse, Percy Jackson, that book I read, what was it, the 30th of January? And I was thinking that very day, okay, I might just sit back and make this wrap up that very day. Cause me who takes 4 weeks to read a book, I'm not gonna read another book. I'm not gonna read another book at the end of the month. There's only 1 day left. I surprise myself continually every single day. I picked up The Party. And you know what? Speaking of parties, that's what it was. Ooh, that was juicy. The Party by Robin Harding. How am I going to describe it? A party takes place. Surprise, I know you weren't expecting that. A party takes place of a 16-year-old girl. Shit goes down and we're basically following the fallout of that shit. If I'm gonna be super professional, I think I describe it as a domestic thriller. I don't know if that's correct, but that's like a word that I hear people say, or a term, so I'm gonna call it that. Oh my god, it's by Robin Harding, and I didn't realize this until I think I was about halfway through the book, and I was loving it. So I go on to Goodreads, I look at the author profile, and I realize it is written by the author of one of my favorite books that I read last year, The Arrangement, which I love that book. I read it almost just as quickly as I read this one. It was so good. It had me so invested, fascinated, needing to know what's going on. And this book was the same. I really think that Miss Harding, she is turning into a good old fave of mine, and I immediately added a whole bunch of her other books to my want to read list. She's really good at writing, I think, in a way. It's suspenseful. It's suspenseful and interesting. I can't even describe it, okay? Don't blame me. Why do I have a channel where I like to talk about and describing books when I am not talented at talking about and describing books? I don't know. I really do just think, though, that I enjoy this gal's writing. To me, she's really up there now as my absolute queen Leanne Moriarty is. I read so many of her books last year because I read one and it had to do another and another and another and another because I loved her writing probably just as much as I love Robin Harding's. I guess I read some really good books this month and I'm looking back on it. I'm happy for me. Good for me. What'd I write here? Shit hit the fan. Yeah, saying shit hit the fan is really an accurate description. I think a lot of this, again, has to do with the writing and just how it kept you so captivated in what was going on. Things just got worse and then they got more worse and they kept getting worse and worse and worse. You could tell it was just gonna gonna keep going and going and going, and each time something new came up, you could tell that that was gonna spring off 3 other terrible things that were gonna happen. It was kind of like frustrating and terrible to read, but because it was frustrating and terrible to read, it made you want to just keep on reading because you knew things were gonna happen that were terrible. You just had to experience it. Oh lord. Yeah, so I read that book in a day. I think I started it on the evening of the 30th and then finished it the morning of the 31st, which again is very unusual for me. I don't really do that a lot. That was a really good way to end this month for reading. As I said, January, objectively the best month. Anyway, that was wrap up. I don't tend to do these, but now that I've started on January, I wonder if I should try and keep it up for the whole year. I'm making no promises, but it'll be a fun experiment.